Well, hello there, I'm Seth Justice. Welcome to the Seth Justice Show. Before we get into all this, make sure you go follow my socials at Justice_radio on Instagram and TikTok, the Seth Justice Show on YouTube and Spotify. That's where you can listen and also comment, and you're probably listening on one of those two anyway. But yeah, so that's what we're doing. Man. It has been a little bit of time since my last podcast, and I mainly because I was moving, I will say that. There's also, and I know I say this every time I do a podcast, but this is almost like a glorified therapy session where I get my true feelings out and talk about, you know, the things that either interest me or, you know, just hit my brain and what I'm thinking about. And, you know, if people listen, people listen. If people don't, they don't. Honestly, it's more therapeutic for me just to get this stuff out. So I say that in saying, I don't know, these past few weeks, they've been interesting. I don't even really remember when the last time I did a podcast was. The month of September is not my favorite month of the year. The month of November is also not my favorite month of the year. You know, a lot of traumatic things happened in my life during that time. And, you know, losing some people hurts. And so I kind of, I think I found that for me, I build up everything. And my buddy Joe, he said this to me a lot when I was younger, but he's like, man, it's almost like you self-destruct in moments and just explode. And I build everything up, and then I just, boom, go off. And going off can look like a bunch of different things. You know, I could be going on a 2-week binge of just seclusion, or a 2-week binge where I'm like drinking a little bit more than I usually do. And, you know, it's those moments, or I blow up different relationships that I'm in that I think, you know, I'm really excited about, and then I'm just like, nope, I'm not gonna pursue that anymore and just blow it up because, you know, I'm a douchebag, you know? And that's kind of like the negative self-talk in my head. But anyway, like it builds up, and I'm not trying to make excuses or anything. Like I said, this is more like a glorified therapy session for me anyway. But September and November are 2 months that I just don't like. And those 2 months, if you know me and know why those 2 months are hard, then you know. I don't like talking about it, like past that point. Maybe one day I will be, and if I'm drunk enough, you know, it's usually a pretty easy thing to get me talking about. But I've found that with me and my self-destructive behavior, I tend to do things not because, you know, I'm scared of what could be or what is. It's more of a comfort thing, which is weird to say. Like, I am more comfortable blowing something up in my life than I am keeping it around. And I don't know if it's a grief response. I don't know if it's, you know, just who I am as a person. I don't know. I've always been the type of person that if I don't like something, I'm not gonna do it. As a lot of my former bosses can probably attest to. Like, I'll do the work, but you will hear me talk about it. And or I will be like, no, not doing that. Like, I am very opinionated. Radio is kind of the only outlet and job that I've never said no to anything. Because I get massive FOMO then, like at events or doing a show or getting on stage or anything like that. I would rather do those things. And that's because I love what I do. Is it arduous sometimes? No. Radio is easy. At least that's because I like it. But when it comes to other things, like I will be a jerk, I'll be standoffish. And I've realized maybe it's because of my grief. I haven't really flushed out all the ideas in my head, right? I'm fairly certain there is a part of me that it's just who I am. It's just the person I am. And I think other parts, it's because I'm stuck. And I mean, we all know the stages of grief and everything like that. I don't really know them off the top of my head, but I know the first two. And I bounce back between those two like crazy. Haven't gotten to the acceptance part. Would really like to get to there eventually. But because of who I am, I always try to be an open-minded, and I always try and be a connective person. What I mean by connective, I always try to connect with people in some way, shape, or form. And I've noticed, like, it usually works out. And that makes me happy connecting with people and being able to talk with anybody and everything like that. And it makes me happy to do all of that. But there is moments where I go and I get so down on myself and so much negative self-talk. And there are moments where it is just toxic in my brain. And I would say I'm a very happy, positive guy, like 90% of the time on the outside. On the inside, it's like 50-50 sometimes. And I always have to remind myself and tell myself, be positive. Be positive. Be positive. And it works. But then there's just sometimes where it builds up and builds up and builds up, and then I explode. And I ruin relationships. I ruin, I don't want to say job opportunities, because I'm very aware of what I do. And I'm very aware, like, my radio career can go up in smoke with, one bad decision, one not so great moment. So I don't know, like, I'm very aware of that. And so I think that's why I always say radio saved me. And that's why I always want to give back to radio, is because if I didn't have this as my passion, I don't know where I'd be. Honestly, I don't. And being able to voice that and be comfortable in saying that and just moving forward and doing what I want to do and the goals and aspirations that I don't think are silly, but I want to achieve what I want to achieve. And I know what those things are. And it's big time, baby. It's big time. But I know I have moments where I let things fester and build and build and build and build. And people always say, like, you can talk to me about this. Like, my mom and dad say it all the time. You can talk to us about it. I just can't. And I don't know what that is. And I thought about, like, talking to a therapist, but I can't. And my dad used to always say, can't, never, could. And for me, I don't know why I do this, but it's just who I am and what I do, and whether that's because of grief, whether that's just because I do what I want, and I always have been and always will be that type of person. But something that really opened my eyes, and this actually happened the other day, where I was watching an interview. It was Diary of a CEO. And if you've never seen that podcast, I highly recommend it. Which this is kind of taboo to do on a podcast. It'd be like, hey, go listen to another podcast. But Diary of a CEO is such a great podcast. And the conversations that they have on that podcast is phenomenal. So Louis Tomlinson, he was on that recently. And Louis, if you don't know, is from One Direction. He has a solo career now. Does fairly well, not as good as One Direction, but that doesn't matter. That's not important here. He's doing the best he can, and he's trying to pave his own path, which I absolutely love. But not talking about his career. The dude has been through so much. And oddly enough, my personality and how he conveys who he is as a person is very similar to me. Now, he grew up in a single-parent household, has a bunch of siblings. I have 2 parents and 1 sibling. But how he guided himself through grief, from losing his mom, from losing his sister, from losing the band that he didn't want to break up, but they did, to, finally getting to a place where he's found true love and has his son, Freddie, and is releasing an album that he feels really good about and positive about and feels like it's the album that he should have released. Hearing him convey that message and talk about the inner workings of his brain and the grief process and the moments where, grief for him was like anything that, there was a time where anything that, like even stubbing your toe would be like an unimaginable, thing against you that you like, oh my goodness, how could this even happen? I stubbed my toe, which is, it happens. And for him to go through that grief and talk about that grief and be able to just move forward is really inspiring to me. And again, Diary of a CEO, go check it out with Louis Tomlinson. But I say all this just to say, and we're 13 minutes into this podcast, and I'm just still talking about the same thing. But I say this to say, I understand that there are moments in our lives where we are sad. I understand there are moments where we are angry. Just like there are moments where we're happy, excited, feeling grateful. I think when we get in any type of era we're in or feeling a certain type of feeling, I'm not great about this, and I need to do better at this. But I want to be able to talk about those things and not just do it in a podcast form, not just do it in, a self-destructive form where I blow up a relationship that I really care about and go from there. I want to be better about talking about how I feel and being okay with being vulnerable. Like, I can talk about surface level things, but I want to be better and I want to do more. And if you are in that same boat, let's work on it together. Let's do this together. Let's find ways for us to get to a point where we are not only happy, but we're feeling healed. And I think in this world today, that's what we need. Because there are so many moments in this world that you're just like, but we agree on so many things and yet we don't agree on this thing. And oh my goodness, I love this person. I've fallen in love. And then it goes away because somebody like me self-destructs, or someone who has trauma doesn't want to continue, or it's a new job, or it's XYZ thing. And there's grief, there's traumatic moments, and talking about those things and healing and becoming a person that is more accepting, open-minded, and true open-mindedness. Not people just saying, oh, I'm open-minded, and not actually being open-minded. No, people who are truly accepting, empathetic, and understanding that, yeah, you know, some things may happen, but we are trying our best, and we can come from a place of understanding. And I think, I need to do a lot of work to get to that point, and I need to be somebody who can do those things. I think I do it well, at least understanding and being open-minded. I'm very proud of myself because I don't care who you are, where you come from, what your ideas are. I want you to be my friend. And that's where I come from. I'm very proud. That may be arrogant to say, but I'm very proud of that. And maybe when I heal, I can be even more like that. But that being said, there's moments in my life where I self-destruct. And I accept those moments. I don't want them to always happen, like clockwork. But understanding that there are moments that will happen, accepting that, but not letting it fester, not letting it go too far. I think that will, if you're like me, then you know how difficult that is. But being able to understand our feelings can ultimately help us. And that's all I wanted to go on this 18-minute rant conversation of my life. Anyway, I could go on longer. Just know that for me, you matter. And it doesn't matter if you're listening to this podcast or somebody who isn't listening to this podcast. You matter. And if you need somebody to talk to, please talk to somebody. Because people care. Don't always have to self-destruct. That's a lesson I'm having to learn. And I know other people are having to learn that too. Maybe one day we'll be healed. I don't know. Anyway, let's get to the news. So Diddy was sentenced this week, or was it last week? I don't know. Anyway, he's getting 4 years. And here's the thing about that situation, right? You see the things that are happening, and you see how somebody could see that, he's a scumbag. Then there are other moments where you're just like, was he just explorative in his sexual desires? Sure, you could say that. Were moments of that wrong? I don't know. We weren't in that situation. Do I think he deserves 4 years? I mean, I don't think people would have been mad if he got 7. I don't think people would have been mad if he got 10. 4 years, I don't... See, this is where it's tough, right? Because if he did what he was alleged to have done, he deserves to go away for life. Did the court system and the prosecutors prove that? Beyond a reasonable doubt? Obviously not. And I don't know if they can try him again for something else. I don't know if they're going to. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if there's going to be more proof that comes out. Or Diddy's going to write a book and be like, yeah, I did it, which would be a wild move. I don't think he'll do that. But if you're a scumbag, you're a scumbag. And for me, Diddy's going to jail. It's probably where he deserves to go. He got 4 years. And again, I don't think anybody's like saying, should he have gotten even 4 years? I mean, I'm sure there's probably some, but others are probably like, yeah, Yeah, I think he deserves to go to jail. I mean, and that's the thing I don't understand. It's just like, why don't you just try and be a good person? And maybe somebody got so corrupted by the power, by the fame, that they're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna just give in to all these feelings. And that's what it is, giving in to the feelings. And I don't think it's a wrong thing to give in to feelings as long as they're not illegal, right? Like, I've tried some things, I've done some things, none of which are illegal, like I could go to jail for. But I've tried to, again, be an open person. That doesn't always mean, like, I'm going to do something that somebody's going to think is right all the time or wrong. Not necessarily a bad thing. Diddy, on the other hand, kind of a scumbag. I think most people think that he got Biggie killed or Tupac killed. I think, and that's alleged and conspiracy theory. So don't sue me, people. Allegedly. I ain't got no money anyway, so it's fine. But, and in this case, you obviously saw a video of Cassie getting assaulted. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody's seen it. So, I don't know. I say this to say, I think most people think 4 years, all right. You probably deserve some jail time. So, either way, moving on. Let's talk about something fun. And I don't even know, like, we have football season going on right now. Cowboys suck, which is a bummer. Yankees and Guardians both are out of the playoffs. So I'm just like, what the hell do I even do? Ugh. Watch anime. No, my favorite anime, One Piece, had an off week. So what am I going to do? All right, well, I guess I'm going to do nothing. Yeah. I don't know. Man, it's one of those deals where you're just like, it feels like that era. And also my favorite English Premier League team also sucks. Manchester United. That team drives me so much up the wall. Drives me up the wall that it is so dang aggravating. Like, they are the type of team that is just so inconsistent. They'll win 1 week against a really good team and then just totally lose it the next week. And you're just like, why can't you be consistent? And the Cowboys, their defense sucks and they'll be in a shootout and then it's all based on timing of things. And it's just like, why? Why is this a thing? And then you see teams, excuse me, by the way. Then you see teams like the Las Vegas Aces in the WNBA won their third title in 4 years. And Asia Wilson is the first person in the WNBA or NBA to win MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and Finals MVP in the same season. Why can't my teams do that? Maybe I should just watch Las Vegas Aces. Maybe that's all I should do. Because they don't disappoint you. Oh, I hate fandom, man. It drives me nuts. And I'm just like, no. Why do you hurt me so? And I think that's why I'm not like super invested into sports that much anymore. Because I'm just tired of feeling that way. And it's just like, no more. So, yeah. Anyway, in other news, Taylor Swift released her brand new album, The Life of a Showgirl. It looks like it's already passed the 4 million unit mark in its first week, which is out of this world. And I mean, that album is just going crazy massive. And I like how Taylor said this. And also, it has broken Adele's record for biggest first week pure sales in U.S. history. Without counting streaming, Showgirl did over 3.4 million, while 25 sold 3.378 million, which is incredible. I mean, just the fact that she's doing this is incredible. But I like how Taylor said that even like in the first week, if you're talking about her album in a positive light or negative light, it doesn't matter. You're still talking about it. And I love that mentality of like accepting something and being like, right here, here's my bird right at you. Look at this bird. Isn't it? Tweet, tweet. And it's your middle finger. But yeah, I mean, I think that is such a cool mindset. And I think this is a very cool album. I haven't listened to it fully. I've only done the little bits. Now, Taylor Swift is not usually my jam. I like her mentality on things. I think I like the mentality of I know who I am. I'm just going to do who I am and be happy. Like, I respect that mentality. And I love that mentality. Same as like a cocky, confident person. I always like that type of person. But Taylor Swift, she, if you don't know, wrote a song called Wood. And Kylie Kelsey, who is the sister-in-law to Travis Kelsey, like, because she married Jason, his brother. Anyway, you know that already. She commented on a song by the name of Wood. And if you know Wood, then you already know that song is about one thing, and that one thing is Taylor Swift's fiance, Travis Kelsey's Wood. She talks about opening up her thighs and all that explicit comment or content, we'll say. Which I'm pretty sure people are losing their minds about. I haven't really seen other comments other than saying, "Oh my God, you go, girl," and also drooling over Travis Kelsey even more now. Anyway, Kylie Kelsey, I almost say Kelso every time because I'm that big of a That 70s Show nerd. But anyway, Kylie Kelsey commented on Taylor Swift's lyrics, and she's like, "Yo, Tay-Tay, TMI, I didn't want to know this. I didn't want to know about Travis Kelsey's Wood game. Like, no. And I got to thinking, I was like, do I want to hear the exploits of my families? No, I don't. However, I am not in Kylie Kelsey's situation. So I'm just sitting back like, you know what? This is hilarious. This interaction between the two and Kylie, like getting all red-faced and being like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is too much. Oh my goodness. No, I don't want to think about Travis like that. That kind of interaction, we'll say, is absolutely hysterical to me. And I love it. I'm sure Kylie doesn't love it. I'm sure she's just like, I'm pretty sure that's her reaction to it. I think she appreciates the artistry, pretty sure. But I just think the hilarity of that reaction to Taylor Swift and that song, and that's what I gotta imagine hits people, like, especially when a song is written about you. It's a moment of, oh, they're talking about me, or oh, they're talking about somebody I know. Oh my goodness, this is so awkward. It's like, no, I don't want to even know about this person's life like that, or I don't want my life to be out like that. I am sure that is a feeling that people who have songs written about them feel on a constant basis, especially when they're driving around and hear their song that Taylor Swift or any other artist has put out, and it is just like, cringy. Like, it is, I can't imagine that feels good. Do I ever want that to happen to me? Hell no. Hell no do I want that. No. I don't want that. I want to be the innocent one that goes on the side and just be like, hee. You got a song about you, and I'm going to be a 6-year-old and be like, ooh, your feelings and emotions are out in the world, and what happened? Ooh. That's the type of I want to be a child. That's what it is. I want to be a 6-year-old, 8-year-old who understands just enough to be hurtful when you make a comment to an adult. Be like, golly, because when a kid makes a comment about you that cuts you to the core, and you're just like, you get roasted so bad, and you're just like, God dang it, I can't. Oh, that hurts. It's a different kind of pain. And that's the type of person I want to be in this world. I don't want to feel pain, even though that's obviously, anyway, impossible thing. And you know what? I think that's a good place to end. I feel good about it. So I'm probably sure there's more things to talk about, which we'll do in the next podcast, which will be next week. Again, consistency. Trying to be better about that. But anyway, thank you so much for listening to the Seth Justice Show. Started off kind of heavy, but we ended with childlike humor. Like how we do that. And then in the middle was some kind of nastiness. I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget my socials. Please like, subscribe, follow to everything I do because it helps me out, helps me grow, and I'm trying to achieve things that I want to achieve. So, at Justice_Radio on Instagram and TikTok, and the Seth Justice Show on Spotify and YouTube. If you're not listening to one, please listen to the other, and then, like, share, follow, all that stuff. Please. Please. And yes, I'm begging. Anyway, have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great week. I'll talk to you later. Peace.